Going on YouTube? It's Brandon Relkam bringing forth a brand new cassette collection video to my YouTube channel. I've said this a million times and I'll say it a million times more. Ever since the previous cassette collection video, I've got new stuff into the collection and I'm always eager to showcase it. During this video, I will be playing Stress Ball's self-titled album in the background. If you're unfamiliar with Stress Ball, they are a sludge metal band from New Orleans, Louisiana. If you're a fan of any kind of sludge metal, specifically sludge metal to come from Louisiana, and you've not heard this, you need to fix that. I'm going to start this video off with cassettes I recently purchased at a local record store, I want to say about a month ago. And to kick that off is a cassette copy of Testament's The New Order. What can I say about this album? It's classic Bay Area thrash metal that every fan of thrash metal appreciates to some degree. This is a first pressing, and like a lot of the first pressing formats of this album, it comes with a bonus track, and I believe that bonus track is Nobody's Fault. It's a cover. I know that for a fact. I'm having a little brain fart right now. I think it may be. I'm not even gonna make assumptions. I'll put it in a pinned comment. I'd rather not embarrass myself more than I've already embarrassed myself right now. So, yes. After Accept's Restless and Wild, there will be two more cassettes to come from that same record store on the same day. Restless and Wild, a classic German heavy metal that was influential to so many bands. And I can tell you right now, Anthrax was one of them. The song Fast as a Shark, that pounding drum intro. Imagine being a kid back in what, 1983? Yep, 1983. Hearing that drum opening and then hearing those face-melting riffs that kick in. That had to have been a blast. Next up we have Cat Scratch Fever from Ted Nugent. This is the second Ted Nugent cassette of mine. I featured his self-titled album in a previous collection video. And this has some pretty classic songs on it. I knew I had to get it. The title track from the album is awesome. And Wang Dang Sweet Poontang in particular is a personal favorite of mine from Ted. Fun fact, a band that Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul played in called Gasoline, which was really more of a cover band, but they did have some original tunes. They played that at New Year's Eve 2001 during a concert, so that's cool. Who's up for some classic heavy metal? I know I am. Right here, Grim Reaper, See You in Hell. You cannot mess with this album. Nick Bocott is such an underappreciated guitarist. He belts out so many cool riffs. And I really wish Grim Reaper would get a little bit more love, because in my opinion, they don't get as much love as they deserve. So, this is an album worth checking out if you've never heard it before. The two cassettes to follow Arise from Sepultura in this video are cassettes that I got out of trades. This cassette, I traded a cassette copy of the debut demo Dangerous and Contagious from my thrash metal band Influenza with the frontman from the New York thrash metal band Electrocutioner for this cassette. I had seen Electrocutioner. Oh boy, when did I see them? It may have been November 2022. I saw them up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. But I started a conversation with their frontman about cassettes, and he was open to the idea of cassette trading. So, long story short, I traded and got this. And I'm very happy to have this, because this is my first Sepultura cassette. This is death thrash metal from Brazil. That it's just untimely. It still holds up to this day as it held up in 1991. I was wrong. It was just one more cassette after Sepultura's Rise instead of 2. And right here, I'm holding Evil Souls Fall to Hell from Climate of Despair. Same thing with the Sepultura cassette. I traded a cassette copy of Dangerous and Contagious for this. This time I traded with Rosh from Climate of Despair. If you've seen any of my previous collection videos, whether it's CD or cassette, you probably would have heard that name uttered at least once. And that's because Rosh and I are very good friends. We've traded plenty of times, whether it be CDs or cassettes, and I'm always happy to trade with him, and I get some really cool stuff out of it. This cassette is limited edition. Only 64 copies were made. I'm not sure which number copy this is, but the story behind these cassettes is well, it's something. Rosh had put in an order for these cassettes, alright? And long story short, it took a lot longer than it was supposed to get these cassettes made and delivered. And I'm sure Rosh was very relieved to get these in the mail, because I can understand that situation. Either way, this is a fantastic doom metal rehearsal demo for fans of Black Sabbath, Saint Vitus, The Obsessed, and Pentagram, and also Iron Man. So if you're into any of those doom metal bands, you should check this out when you have the chance. Back in March of this year, I saw some metal bands play up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and one of them was Lord of Horns. I bought a cassette copy of their album, The Forest at Dusk, and this is another limited edition tape. This is number 21 out of 36 copies. Lord of Horns is a black metal band that has cited influence from all kinds of old school black metal bands. Dark Throne, I believe Gorgoth, and also Mayhem were listed by this band as influences. Just Dark Throne definitely was. So if you're into any kind of old school second wave black metal, you should give this a listen. It's raw, but also very, very sinister sounding. The weekend after I graduated high school, I saw metal bands up in Allentown at the same venue where I got the Lord of Horns cassette. This time I got the Donner Party's debut album, Cutting Class, on cassette. This album was the first release put out by Soul Grinder Records. Soul Grinder Records is a sub-label of Soul Grinder Zine, which is more so a fanzine rather than a record label, but they have put out stuff on a CD before, mostly like split albums and some compilations. But this is the first release from their sub-label Soul Grinder Records, and they picked a very, very awesome band and album to release it on. The Donner Party is a crossover thrash metal band from New Jersey, and their music is just teeming with inspiration from SOD, DRI. I also want to throw Cryptic Slaughter into that mix, MOD. Any kind of crossover thrash metal band, whether it be old school or modern, you could probably make similar connections to this. This cassette, the first time of me listening to this, the tape gets eaten by the player right after side A finishes. And so I was disappointed, but thankfully I got it all squared away now and it's not messed up. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen when I try to listen to it again, but fingers crossed. Last but not least, we have a mixtape that I made, and that mixtape is called G.G. Allin Mixtape from Hell. If you're unaware, I'm a big fan of the king of scumbag rock and roll, and I felt inclined to make myself a mixtape. If you're unaware, I've made mixtapes before, and I've pretty much all of them I've traded with other people, and there are people that I've made mixtapes for as either an unexpected surprise gift or, well, it technically was an unexpected surprise gift in all cases, but some of them were birthday gifts. Either way, this mixtape filled up on side A and side B with all my favorite songs from G.G. Allin. A lot of them are some of his most popular songs, and there are also some deep cuts on this tape, so I think you can probably figure out which songs are on this tape. Yes, I have a lot of fun making mixtapes. This is the first one that I have made that I've kept for myself. I don't have a cassette box or a J card for this right now. Hopefully I will in the future, but this is about as old school and DIY as it gets. This right here, this was the playlist before the digital age. That wraps up my July 2023 cassette collection video. I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like on the video. Feel free to comment down below which cassette was your favorite. And I hope to see you in my next YouTube video.